The starting point in human design is your energy type. We're actually all built to function very differently, with different skills and different ways that our energy works. So we need to align with that rather than do things the way that the world tells us we need to do things. When we do, we create success and happiness with so much more ease. And it's more enjoyable because it's the way our souls actually crave doing life. Your energy type tells you how you're built to operate, and it's arguably the most important aspect of your design. Your energy type is what we call a manifester. Let's get into what that means. Manifestors are wild, strong, playful creatures. As a manifestor, you were born with a very strong sense of who you wanted to be. You were born already knowing how to raise yourself. But it's likely that the adults in your life were told to discipline and regulate your natural urges, because that's what they're told is the right thing to do with kids. But the thing with discipline is it actually constricts your energy and tells you that it's not good to be a wild, spontaneous, strong creature, when that's exactly what you came here to be. Not only are you meant to be like that, but that's actually when people will love you the most, even when they don't know that consciously. That's also when you'll be most successful, impactful, and feel most at peace in yourself. Even though you may have been praised for being obedient and abandoning your own wants, giving yourself the licensing to do whatever the F you want is your role in this lifetime. The role of a manifestor. As a manifestor, you're an initiator. You get the ball rolling, start something, create movement, often without even trying, that others can then join in on or follow you on. You don't have to figure out how to create movements. You just have to follow your urges, because those are the very things that will create the right impetus in others. When you're being fully you, your actions will create a spark in others that they can react to. This is you. You're the cause and everyone else is the effect. Doing what you want. The thing about creating new movements is that others are never going to understand it before you've actually gone ahead and done it. So it starts with you giving yourself the licensing to go off and be and do what your heart is leading you to do, trusting that that's always the way you're going to create everything you want. When you just give yourself permission to do what you want to do, this gets the right people on board without you even trying. Your essence has this self-selection mechanism that sifts people into 3 different buckets for the best outcome to take place. So either people will be drawn right to you because they need and want this kind of essence in their lives. These are people who will want to follow and partake in whatever it is you create. Or for others, it will ruffle their feathers because you're shaking them awake. When this is a natural byproduct of you just doing your thing, this is actually a very healthy thing for those people to feel for their own evolution. And there'll be others who simply aren't meant to come along for the ride of whatever your urges are leading you to do, and they won't react at all. Your biggest desire is to be able to do exactly what you want. Manifestors are unintentional leaders because ironically, when they do whatever they want and let themselves be seen doing it, it catches the attention of the very people who are meant to partake in it. So when you go off and do your own thing, breaking off from the pack, you end up creating a much more beneficial, aligned version of a pack. A higher, better option for others to come join you on. You long to feel supported more than anything, and it's actually when you stop doing the things you think you have to do and say to give you support, and instead do what your urges are calling you to do, that you receive the truest, most devoted kind of support, adoration, and acceptance. Because your urges are leading you to do something that would be so life-enhancing for other people too. Stepping into your bigness is your job because other people need it more than you or they realize it yet. Embrace your bigness. Bigness is scary because it's so misunderstood. It's not loud, aggressive, or in your face. It's just unafraid to stand in its own essence and radiate that out into the world instead of adapting or changing for anyone. Trust that your essence is perfect because it's the essence that the universe designed for you specifically. So it's something to honor rather than be ashamed of or apologetic for. If it helps, don't think of your essence as you. It's on loan to you for this lifetime so that you can enjoy it and share it with others. The secret to living a good life is trusting that exactly what you're inclined to do and be will change other people's lives for the better when you simply become fully okay with all the different aspects of it. The second you stand fully unapologetic in your essence, people will take notice. And people noticing you is the very thing that activates your purpose as a manifestor. You don't have to try to be big, you just have to stop being small. Manifestors sense deep down that they're here to impact other people, but the world tells them they need to figure out how to do this. In reality, it happens as a natural side effect when you're following your urges. When you do whatever the hell you want, that's when everybody wins. The reason it can be difficult to embrace this is because society has taught us that in order to help others, we have to sacrifice our own wants. In reality, it's actually by being the truest expression of ourselves that we are the most beneficial to others. The universe is built on a win-win principle like that. Your energy is intense and big in a good way. Think of when something comes over you so strong that it moves you and it changes the direction of your life. This is you at your highest expression. You mustn't take it personally when your loved ones can't keep up with your level of intensity because they weren't built for the same role as you. If what you did wasn't intense and impactful, it wouldn't wake people up enough, and it needs to be able to do that. Intense is good and beautiful for you when you just go off and do what makes you happy, because it's the happiness that then becomes intensified. And how magnetic is a person with big energy who's in their joy, at peace with themselves, and aligned? It's the kind of person that shifts worlds. Throughout your life, though, you've probably received a lot of messages that tell you it's better to small in your nature. So many manifestors end up becoming overly apologetic, doubtful of who they are, or spend their energy trying to people please rather than spend it on doing things that their hearts would do if they 100% trusted in themselves. Manifestors also feel the criticism and judgment from others deeply, and this causes them to not share what they're up to or want to distance themselves from people. They fear being seen because they equate that automatically with having to handle scrutiny. But no, that doesn't have to be the case. When you're fully okay with being you, you attract a life where you're met with approval, reverence, and support. Any smallening in your energy blocks the magnificence of who you really are being felt by others and by you and yourself. So if you're living your life in a way that's so aligned, but you still feel like you could be having so much more impact and success, simply focus on getting rid of the fear of being seen and let yourself shine. Manifestor energy is not constant, it comes in surges. Since you're an initiator, you're not built to have a consistent level of energy all day long. Instead, your energy works in bursts. The universe directs you by sending you these urges, the spontaneous fancies that come to you telling you what to do next in life. When you're overcome by an urge, the universe also sends you this surge of energy to be able to carry it out with. Once you've carried out that urge, though, you then need to rest and reset until you next feel an urge to do the next thing. You're not built to have the consistent energy of a 9-to-5 day. You're built for peaks and valleys. In the peaks, you have an abundance of energy and power, and then when you finish carrying out your urge, you need to come back to yourself. When you let yourself flow with this is actually when everything you do will have the most power. Like fire, if you burn slowly all day, it won't make much of an impact. But if you set something alight and have it become engulfed in a fireball even for a short while, other people will notice and the fire will catch on. Once you've acted on an urge, it causes a ripple effect in the world that you can't control, and you're not here to micromanage how others react to what you do. Once you've done the thing that set your soul alight, let it go and let the sparks fly wherever they fly. Instinctive intuition. Your intuition shows up as sharp instincts. You have this voice inside you that pops out of nowhere unprompted, giving you messages and direction on what to do. You have this instinctive voice because your spleen is the strongest part of your chart, and that's the part of the body that rules instinct. Unlike the voice of the mind, your spleen is not rational and you can't make sense of it. It's intuition in the truest sense of the word. Call them hits, call them pings. They're complete messages that just get dropped into your lap. We've been taught to make decisions in this world based on what's predictable, knowing all the facts first, needing logic and reasoning, and being able to explain our decision. But the instinct can't be explained. It just says what it needs to say and then it's gone. If it tells you something that you can't make sense of, it's definitely the voice of the spleen. But if you've been taught you can only trust what you can understand, the voice of the spleen gets quieter and quieter, which makes it more difficult to hear. Be okay with not being able to explain it to other people. If you ever feel like you need to, then the world will bring you tons of situations where people will expect explanation from you. But when you fully own that you do things because that's what you're called to do, the outside world will honor and accept that about you too. Noticing your instincts. Whenever you do get those random intuitive hits that cross your mind, note them down in your mind, on paper, or in your phone. By acknowledging that voice, even when it's tiny and quiet, you're exercising it so then it grows. As you build up a bank of evidence of those intuitive hits and look at them in hindsight, you'll start to see how and why they were the right things for you, which will make it easier for you to start trusting them and then doing what they're telling you to do. When you give less time and attention to the voice of your mind and more time and attention to your hits, you will come into your full intuitive power. When properly strengthened, the spleen can give you messages about anything and everything, and you can also ask it any question and it will give you an answer. Once you're in a place where you feel you've strengthened your relationship to your spleen and you can't get a clear answer about something, it's because your rational mind is getting in the way. Strengthening the spleen. You can practice strengthening your splenic voice by consulting it on the little things that you don't place so much importance on. For example, what lane should I turn on? Or which coffee shop should I go to this morning? Have fun with it. This will send the message that you're open to trusting your spleen, so it will start communicating to you more often and more loudly. The more of a close relationship you build with your instinctive voice, the more you will feel effortlessly guided through life and feel this deep trust in yourself that you can always know where to go and what to do. No overthinking, nor looking outside of yourself for the answers. You're a strong intuitive, and life gets so much sweeter, juicier, and easier when you put your instincts in charge. Your personality is the easy breezy genius, also known as a 2-4. The first number describes the way you see yourself, and the second number is the way others see you. It actually serves us to have our own internal world that's not so obvious to others, and an external side of us for the physical world. Let's get into each one and how they come together to form your full personality. 2. The natural. On the inside, you're a natural, which means that there are certain things you seem to be effortlessly good at without really knowing how you came to be good at those things or being able to describe to other people how you do it. There's a pressure in this world to validate or explain how you're qualified to do those things, but don't bend to that pressure. In fact, the more people like you are honest about it coming easy to you, the more we'll all realize we don't need to earn things as much as our society has told us we have to. Coming into your genius is not about learning from the outside world. It's already in you without you really knowing how it got there. When you're doing these things that come easy to you, you slip into this zone where your gifts just almost seem to come out of you. There's an unaware quality in doing what you do, almost as if it happens without you consciously making it happen. In this way, doing your gifts is quite an unconscious process and takes care of itself as long as you've created the time and space where getting in the zone is possible. But since it's an unaware process, it's usually easier for others to spot your genius than it is for you. So naturals tend to require feedback from the outside world to figure out what they're good at. When you're in your zone doing your thing, you don't like to be disturbed or interrupted because you need to be fully devoting yourself to your craft without being thrown off track. So you do have a little bit of a hermit side to you, as it's only through that you can develop your gifts to the fullest. When you do find yourself feeling disturbed, you can reframe it by remembering that people aren't usually trying to disturb you on purpose, and also communicate to them clearly when you want to be in solo mode. 4 is the people person. On the outside, you're a people person, which means that the universe will bring your dreams to your door via the people you know. You have a sense of who is right for you to spend time with, and you should listen to that sense. When you cultivate relationships with those who feel bright and aligned to you, you will be sent bright and aligned opportunities. Don't be afraid to be a little closed off or disinterested in those you don't resonate with. It's not that they're bad people, they're just not right for you, and you're not designed to spend time with just anybody. Once you start to honor that and don't judge it as being closed, all the support and opportunities you're designed to have in life will come to you. Who you enjoy hanging around is who you're meant to be around. It's not by accident. So don't question why you're drawn to some and not to others. A huge milestone in your life comes when you really feel like you've found your people. And since you already know the social situations you're meant for, don't judge yourself for being inflexible when a social situation doesn't appeal to you. For you, the saying is really true. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your relationships. When the 2 and the 4 come together, there's a dichotomy between the natural and the people person, since the natural has a hermit side to it, and the people is naturally friendly and people are drawn to it. The people person in you gives you a motivation when it comes time to share your gifts, but the hermit in you also doesn't care that much about sharing. The world will tell you that you can't be both, or that one is the real you, or that one is better than the other, but both of these sides are here to serve you at different times and for different purposes. Learn to dance between the two, being whichever one the moment needs from you. Even though you start off unaware of your gifts, the journey of your life is to fully trust and rely on them. Too much studying and filling your head with information will drain you rather than energize you, because that's life's way of telling you that it's not really what you're meant to do. You hate being asked what you're up to or what you're doing most of the time because you can't explain it. But others can sense your natural gift, and this is what will cause them to call on you to share it. Your physical body can exhaust easily, so make sure you don't say yes too often or you'll get drained and want to shut yourself off from the world even more. You need to have enough recharge time so that you have the energy to really give when you need to. It's a healthy balance between being in a secure environment by yourself and answering the right calls to share your gifts, which will draw you out into the world. You have a natural shyness to you which protects you. It ensures someone's call is strong enough that they actually do want you to share your gifts and filters out the casual requests because you won't just say yes to anyone. In intimate relationships, your dichotomy between the 2 and the 4 also presents itself, where sometimes you want to be all over the other person and other times you just want to be left alone. Be aware also that 2/4s don't see themselves super well, so pay attention to feedback and projections because those will give you helpful clarity that you can't always see yourself. Your journey here is to have both, your own colorful inside world and a colorful outside world of love, connection, and sharing. And it's only by allowing yourself to have both that you live out your gifts to the full. Your strategy is the way you make things happen in your life, how you go about making your dream life real, how you manifest. The world has taught us that we have to push and force things to happen, but you have a unique way of drawing your dreams to you that will feel much more easeful and fun. Plus, it will actually get you so much quicker results when you do it because you're doing it in the way that you're meant to be doing it. Your strategy is informing. You're not meant to try to make things happen. You're meant to go off and do your own thing, which doesn't involve asking anyone's permission for anything. This is about trusting that your urges will kick off a chain reaction of other people who see what you're up to, but that you don't and shouldn't think about the side effects when you do your thing. Create what you're called to create, do and say that's trying to come out of you. But remember that whatever it is you're up to, there are going to be people who are going to want to get on your train. And in order for the right people to be magnetized to you, all you have to do is openly share what you're doing, thinking, working on, and considering. This is informing. When you inform, you activate a sorting mechanism that ensures all the right parts come together without you really having to make it come together. All the perfect circumstances will unfold, but you have to bring people's attention to what you're starting. In terms of energy, what you do is the cause that everyone else reacts to, which creates effects. All you have to do is inform. Now, this may sound easy enough, but for a manifester, unapologetically sharing without shrinking is challenging. The world conditions you to believe that you shouldn't be doing that. So a lot of the times you have a tendency to hesitate or err on the side of discretion, or just want to go off and do your thing in silence because then you won't encounter questioning, resistance, interference, judgment, or criticism. Being seen is scary for you because you equate it with all these things, which are super limiting and constricting to your spirit. But there's another way. It's your energy that actually dictates how the sharing openly is received. When a manifester is totally accepting of their true nature and urges, because at the end of the day, the universe gave them to you, so who are you to question them? And then you share them without needing the acceptance from the outside world. Ironically, people actually accept it more because they're responding to your energy around it, and the right people will even adore it. However, when you're avoiding informing, people pick up on that and they will actually end up doing the poking, the prodding, the judging, which then confirms your fear and makes you want to keep hiding. Every time you make an incremental change towards being totally open with people, you will be better received. And all of a sudden, people who seemed maybe totally uninterested will want to know more. You'll pique the interest of strangers, and people will come seemingly out of nowhere to help support you and bring momentum to whatever it is you're starting. Know that being unapologetic doesn't have to be loud or aggressive or shoving it down other people's throats. The best way for you to share is in whatever way feels authentic and genuine to you. Being unapologetic just means that you're being totally happy with it in yourself and not offering it up to others for their approval. When you share from the heart without needing a certain response from it, you're free. And when you're free, your actions will create ripples that affect people in the best ways possible. People want to follow big, free, unapologetic people, and this is what you really are. Your sign is the feeling you have when you're living your design. It's a no-fail way that the universe can signal to you that you're on the right track. When you're using your energy correctly, you will always feel your sign come up in your life, so you never have to do any guesswork to know whether you're in alignment or not. Your sign will be there to show you. A manifestor's sign is peace. When you're doing what you truly want to do, fully trusting and relying on your true self, you feel at peace. No one bothering you, no one pressuring you to be or do anything you don't want to do, no one expecting you to fit into a certain thing. But most importantly, you aren't putting any pressures or expectations on yourself. Just recognizing that all you need to do is keep doing what your divine spontaneous nature urges you to do. Although they are here to create movements, manifestors don't want to rule from on high. They don't want to micromanage people. They don't want to have millions of people to answer to. They just want to be left alone and have the freedom to do what they feel like doing next. When you've let go of needing to know what to do in order to get to your dream life, and instead trust that your inner urges will lead you right to it, you will feel that inner peace and space to breathe and play that you so crave. You can blast off as many times as you want to with no limitations on you, and then also let it all go in between those bursts of energy and come back to that total nothingness. Life seems like your total blank canvas, full of promise all over again. The not self is the feeling we get whenever we're not living our design. Life gives you this not self feeling so that you can always tell when you're getting off track, so that you can then redirect quickly back to using your energy the way that you're meant to. A manifestor's not self is anger. We feel anger whenever we feel like we've been wronged by someone else. Since a manifestor's challenge is about being in their power, the opposite of that is someone else having the power or control over them. You may have been conditioned to believe that being in your power makes you bad, unacceptable, or dangerous, or you're afraid of it and so consciously seek to place it in other people in positions of power or control or pedestals in your life. It's also easier for a manifestor to believe that their situation is other people's doing, because then at least you can blame them. There's someone else to be mad at. For as long as you're not giving yourself full permission to do things the way you want to do them, without looking for the okay from others, you will always feel angry or mad at something or someone. Whenever you feel anger, it's always a cue to be your own permission slip and do what your soul truly craves to do in this moment. You might be afraid to do this because you're afraid to make a mistake, which would mean that you'd then be mad at yourself. But know that if you're living your design, you will always receive the right guidance on what to do. If you do occasionally make choices that are not soul choices, that's part of your learning to come back to yourself. This is where you need to practice knowing that just because you made bad choices, it doesn't equate being a bad person. Accepting yourself and having your own back when you need it is what will dissolve that anger back into that sign of peace. Anger doesn't necessarily mean raging and screaming, by the way. It's just an internal feeling like things are not right or fair. Anger can feel like, why can everyone else do that and I can't? Or the rules are so different for everyone else. It can also feel like you're holding on to tension, like you're at the mercy of other people's agendas, like you have no control over your own life. Feeling like you're bending all the time and that you're about to snap, or you feel mad and annoyed at people for having done things to you. It could feel like being caged. It could feel like things are bubbling under the surface and maybe you need to feel it, or maybe you're trying to stuff down or ignore it because it's bad to be anything but placating or sweet like we've been taught to. It can feel like you can't see straight and that maybe other people can, and you start to doubt your own abilities and visions. It can feel like constantly questioning yourself, like, what am I not seeing? This anger is often caused by deeply doubting yourself and then believing that there's something wrong with you that's leading you to your lack of being where you want to be. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with you. You're destined for greatness and happiness like everyone else. You just have to be okay with doing it your way and knowing that that's the way the universe wants you to do it. When you are so happy and trusting in you always being able to do what your soul is calling you to do and could care less about outside factors, you dissolve that anger and go back into your sign of peace. This is where you belong. Specific manifesting. Manifesting refers to your way of bringing things you want into your reality. You're designed to manifest in a specific way, which means things come to you quickest when you're detailed and clear about exactly what you want. For example, if you know you want a house with a front porch, marble kitchen countertops, and in a specific area of town, don't ignore those things. Those details aren't just in your mind for no reason. The universe is dropping them there as a sign guiding you to what's right for you. So when you see that house that meets all the criteria, you'll know it's the house you're meant to take. Embrace and own the specifics. Don't ever think this way of being is picky, high maintenance, or unrealistic. The universe gave you that specific vision to help guide you towards all the things that are meant for you. So don't question what comes to you and follow it, trusting that there's a rhyme and a reason for it all. Sometimes the things you want are not the end, they're just the means. So for example, you could be led to your dream home because you're meant to move in next door to the person that will change your life. There's nothing inherently wrong or bad about knowing exactly what you want and being unafraid to ask for it. If your dream is luxurious and over the top, there's nothing wrong with the bigness of your desires. If they're authentically what you want, they are right. It's just as easy for the universe to create a 5-bedroom mansion as it is for it to create a coin on the street. It's only our limited human minds that get in the way. Tools for getting specific. For someone like you, activities like doing a vision board or writing down a list of things you want will work for you if you're called to do them. If you just want to think about something in your mind, that's fine too. Just listen to the voice inside you that adds, I'd like to pay no more than $150 for it, or any other specific details that just come to you naturally. You don't have to fill in all the details, just the details that naturally occur to you. All you need are your genuine preferences, nothing more, nothing less. Build evidence. It's always best to start manifesting things you currently believe you can have, no matter how small. And when you see them come into your life, it will be easier for you to start asking for slightly bigger things and then even bigger things. It's just like flexing a muscle, where you have to train it with the baby weights first. The more evidence you can build of things you brought into your own life, the easier it becomes to believe that you can have literally anything you can conceive of, as long as you get clear on what you want. Every human lifetime has a different theme. Your life theme describes the main energy you're meant to bring into everything you do. It's called a theme because it's meant to run through all the areas of your life. The same mix of skills and essence will bring you success and alignment, whether you're at home, with friends, at work, in the grocery store. When you live according to your life theme, that's when you know you're on the road to your purpose. So as far as the universe is concerned, your purpose isn't just achieved at work. The universe doesn't compartmentalize like that. It wants to see you sharing your specific essence everywhere you go. When you bring your essence to the table, you signal to the universe and to people around you that you're being who you're meant to be. This is when people gravitate towards you the most, when opportunities and synchronicities flood to you, because you're simply being the person you came here to be. So all the good things that are meant for you finally fit. Let's get into the theme of your life. The right angle cross of penetration 2. To be at the forefront of building or creating newer, better things. Forget about trying to change the old. You're all about building the new, and you have a huge drive to do so. You have no desire to tweak and change what currently exists, but to start something totally different from scratch that doesn't yet exist. When you do this, it gives you a shiny energy that ignites excitement and freshness in other people that will help create momentum not only in your projects, but in other people's lives too. So don't ever apologize for your impatience with fixing the old. Be unashamed to make something even better from the ground up. No one does that like you. The word penetration comes from the fact that whatever you choose to create, you will want it to be big and to make sure that it really gets through to people. The universe designed you that way to ensure that everything you create that is beneficial to others reaches the most amount of people. You have what we call a cold food digestion in human design. You have a warm bodily system and therefore need to eat cooling foods to tonify and balance out the overstimulation in your system. Your body and brain will thrive when you include more foods that are body temperature and below. Your foods. Try to consume whatever cooling things appeal to you. Juices, cucumber slices, celery sticks, smoothie bowls, lemon water. If you're eating something like a roast chicken, let it cool a bit before eating it. You might even find that you naturally prefer food when it's leftovers because your body knows instinctively that it responds better at that temperature. Try to avoid spicy foods as much as you might love them. And if you want something cooked, pair it with a salad or a cooling drink. If you get too heated, that usually will throw your digestion off. That could be literally heated, like if you're in a too warm environment or just worked out intensely. Try opening the windows or taking a cool shower before eating a meal. This also applies to being too heated mentally or emotionally too. So if you're feeling too passionate or mad about something, that's not the time to eat. Try a cooling tea first and address what's making you feel those things, because there's always a message for growth and evolution in them. Similarly, if you're eating with others and it's becoming too heated or passionate, feel free to get involved, but call on those cold foods or drinks to help bring balance to that beautiful fire of yours. Your brain. Coolness also suits your mind, not just your digestive system. So whenever you need to feel good or switch your brain on, try cold showers, getting a blast of air conditioning, or going outside for a bit just to get some fresh air. This will instantly bring you back to a place of balance so you can see things more sharply and clearly. Eating pattern. Since your brain is passive, it's best for you not to hold on to any eating or working routines. You might want your first smoothie at 7 a.m. one day and 11 a.m. the next. Go with it. Your brain sometimes isn't ready to take in food, and if you force it to, it will actually end up draining your energy batteries. The more you can pay attention to your hunger cues, the better. And the more you can truly stop eating when you've had enough, even when, for example, there's only 3 bites left and you tell yourself you may as well finish it, the better. This is being in a hyper-tuned in state to your energy pattern for the day, which is always constantly changing for you. A big component to you thriving is realizing that you weren't built to be consistent. And even though the world tells us we have to be consistent to be successful, you'll actually have more peace and success when you let yourself flow more. Your strongest sense is touch, meaning that you share your love and your gifts using your physical body. Of all the 6 senses, each one of us has one that's dominant. It's a sense that when heightened makes you feel most alive. It's kind of like your love language with the world. Each sense has its own language, and when you speak your language, people receive your gifts the most deeply. It makes whatever you do more effective and valuable. You also absorb the information from the outside the best when you're taking it in through that sense. With touch as your strongest sense, you're meant to use your hands and your physicality in everything you do. So you probably already are very generous and giving, and sharing your belongings and effort with others gives you pleasure. Spiritually, our hands are going to become even more important in the future as all of our hand chakras develop more and more. As a touch person, your hands bring healing whenever you use them, whether that's patting someone on the back for a job well done, demonstrating how to do a spreadsheet to a work colleague, or starting a cooking channel on YouTube. With your gifts, affection and touch are the ways you share your genius, your light, and your power with others. No matter what you're doing, get your hands and sense of touch involved. When they say get your hands dirty or roll your sleeves up, that's you. Not sitting on the sidelines of things, but really getting involved at the heart of it. When you want to make something more successful, throw yourself into it, interact with it, get intimate with it. If you're an interior designer, you need to really feel the fabrics with your hands as a way of helping you decide what to choose for the home, instead of just imagining it while sitting in an office. If you're leading a team, it really helps if you get in there and do some of the tasks with them or sit together as a group regularly. If you're an event planner, even if you have a whole team under you that you direct, don't be afraid to do things yourself too. Give the room a once over or rearrange the flowers or move the seats before the event actually starts. This is when you'll really shine because it's what you can see better than anyone else. In your personal life, you show love and feel most love when there is grabbing, holding, touch, and even play fighting as part of your interactions. If you want to show someone love, hug them, hold their baby for the day, take things off their hands because your hands are more powerful. And from those close to you, you'll feel most loved by them when you receive physical demonstrations of their love. You like affection, touch, and someone doing a task or errand for you. Don't be afraid to tell them that so that they know how to show you love in a way that you'll actually be able to feel the most. Setting up your life. As for your personal space, it's important that you feel comfortable. So choosing fabrics that feel good against your skin, furniture that is actually enjoyable to sit on, will literally enhance your ability to develop your genius because it's setting up the right conditions in which you can thrive. When things physically feel good, it heightens your ability to take in info from the world. With food. When deciding what to make for dinner, touching the produce in the grocery store will tell you if you feel like eating it, which is the universe's way of telling you if it's right for you to eat. When you touch things, you are literally getting guidance that helps you make the right decisions. So you might also want to eat with your hands, such as crudités and dips, sushi, pizza, burritos. Even experiment with foods that we aren't usually told we can eat with our hands. This primes your body to digest and take in food in the most optimal way possible. In short, we've been taught in the modern world that being stoic and intellectual is what powerful people do. But for you, it's when you use your body and use it to demonstrate your gifts and your feelings that you come into your power, and when others see you as your most powerful and valuable too. It's only through our physical selves that we can embody all that we are, and you came here to be a leading example of that. Life is a sensual practice for you, and the more you can own that as your gift, the more powerful you'll become. In doing so, you bring us all more into our bodies and help us appreciate the power of loving touch more. How your emotions function. You're what we call a non-emotional in human design. Being non-emotional means that your natural state is cool, calm, and collected. You only feel things when something is happening around you that makes you feel a certain way. You might think, well, isn't this the case for everyone? And the answer is no. 50% of the population live their lives on highs and lows that have nothing to do with what's actually going on in the world around them. It's like their background emotional setting goes up and down, where yours is steady. Non-emotionals are experts at picking up on what others are feeling. Because you don't have background emotions of your own, and because you're naturally supposed to be a calm lake, you can easily sense emotional ripples from the outside world. Let's say someone walks into the room and they are sad, at a level 2 out of 10. You'll easily pick up on this and it will feel like a 6 to you because it's such a contrast to your normal state. Ideally, you want to use this as your spidey sense because picking up on other people's emotions can give you so much information, make you so tuned into the situation, and make you empathetic. You want to tune into what you're picking up on without taking it on yourself or letting it sway your own calmness. But often, non-emotionals either pick up on everything and take it on themselves, or they shut themselves off from even picking up any emotions in the first place. So, you either get called too emotional or not emotional enough. When a non-emotional is overly attached to feelings that come over them from the outside world, they mistake those feelings as being their own and end up coming across as very emotional themselves. So many non-emotionals get called emotional by other people in their life because they're simply reflecting and magnifying everything that they're picking up on. The trick is to detach yourself from what you pick up on. There's always a reason why you might feel what you feel. So when you feel thrown off your calm center, ask, where or who did I pick this up from? This helps you use what you're picking up on to become wise about what's going on in the world around you, whilst also creating some space between you and the emotion. Remember, you are not the emotion. In contrast, when a non-emotional has been taught to totally disconnect from feelings, it can make them feel very stoic and unemotional. To be clear, non-emotionals still have emotions, so it's important that they recognize those, and important that they tune into the emotions of others because it contains important information that's meant to make them wiser about life and about people. As a non-emotional, you can read people's states very well. Don't shut that gift off by believing that feeling is weak or bad. Sensing other people's emotions is a useful skill. When you're able to clearly read other people's states, you know when is a good time to be around them or not, say something or not, bring up the thing you wanted to say or not. You can also help them become more aware of how they're feeling. Remember that if someone is feeling that 2 out of 10 anger, they might not even be aware of it, whereas when you sense it in a 6 out of 10 way, you can be their mirror. Tuning into other people allows you to navigate relationships with those people in a much wiser way. Just to explain the contrast, emotionals often have poor visibility on how they're feeling, let alone how others are feeling, because they're so mired in their own feelings. It's often difficult to step out of them. They need non-emotionals like you to show them and help them navigate. Clarity is in the now. Since you are that clear lake, it's very easy for you to see things as they are. However, 50% of the world is emotional, meaning that their vision can be colored by the mood they're in, so they can't always see so objectively. With all the emotionals in your life, remember that they won't have clarity in the now moment. It's only when they've settled into a relatively neutral mood that they can see things as they are. So just remember that it takes them more time to be clear on their thoughts and feelings, even though it's easy for you. Emptying out. You're a sonar picking up on so many things over the course of the day. In order to use this non-emotional gift properly, you need to be aware of all the signals you've absorbed from others over the course of the day so that you can flush them out and stay that clear sonar, unencumbered by emotional interference from the outside world. Whenever you feel thrown into some emotion or reaction, whenever you get frustrated or down or overly swept up in any emotion, whether high or low, remind yourself that it's just what you're experiencing because of your circumstances. It's not you. You're either picking up on other people's emotions, in which case they're not yours to hold on to, or you're feeling a certain way because a life situation has made you feel that, and that's completely normal. Either way, there's no need to attach yourself to those emotions so deeply. Create this separation in your mind of you and the feelings so that everything you pick up on doesn't stick around and continue to affect you. Let it wash over you and leave just as quickly as it came so that you can always return easily to your natural state without any extra stuff. We call this emptying out.